Welcome to part 2 of our Belize trip. If you haven't checked out the first one, I suggest going to the channel, looking for the key cocker video. It's a really great video. This one is going to be a little bit shorter, so with that said, I'm going to get started. So we only stayed in San Pedro for a little bit. The first 2 days were great, and then the rest were kind of just, it all snowballed into a disaster. We almost missed our flight home because the weather was too bad, so we were actually stuck on San Pedro and then had to take like a flight to another flight to Belize City, and then we had to take a taxi cab to the airport, and like as soon as we were getting to the airport, our plane was loading and getting ready to leave. So there was that, and then I'm going to reveal something that happened to me later on in the video, but that was added to the chaos. Overall, the trip was great, but yeah, let's get into what we did in San Pedro. After taking a water taxi from Key Cocker to San Pedro, which was a really cool thing to experience, we navigated the very busy streets of San Pedro to our hotel. We decided it was a little bit better for us to get a hotel than an Airbnb here, and as you can see, this was pretty much like an apartment itself, so the size was great, the location was great because you walk outside, you cross a little dirt road, and the ocean was right there. There was a dock leading to one of our favorite restaurants where we ended up eating there I think 3 times. In case you were wondering, the hotel's name was Blue Tang Inn. It was super cool, a little bit busy at night. Right there is a main road that leads down to the beach, and along the whole beach is just restaurants, clubs, stores, so a really nice area if you're there for vacation and just want to go grab a quick bite to eat, or if you're here for the nightlife and the partying, there was plenty of places. Other than the nice rooms in the hotel, the little walkway pool area they had was really nice. The lunch area, I forgot to get a video of it. It was kind of had like a little tiki hut type theme, and then this balcony was on the very top. They had tables and everything, so you can go up there at nighttime. They had little lights to lead the pathway. We didn't go up there like we planned on to, just because what happened later on in the trip. And the difference from Key Cocker to San Pedro is just something else. Like going from a super small town and seeing just the chill vibe, totally different. This was a lot more city-like. There was a lot more people, a lot more golf carts. Sorry, I had a little brain fart there. There's just a lot more going on here in San Pedro. If you want that little busier nightlife, I definitely suggest San Pedro, but if you want the chilled kickback life, go to Key Cocker. So after checking into our hotel, we decided it was time to get some lunch, and like I said, as soon as you cross the little dirt road from the hotel, there was a dock that led out to the Palapa Bar and Grill. We ended up eating here, I believe it was about 3 times, just because it was super convenient and the food is pretty good, and of course you can't beat this view. At nighttime, they had all this water lit up. You can go down there and swim, float. They had a little rope. They'll send buckets of beer across if you wanted it, if you ordered it. And overall, it was just a really cool experience. Every night, they had live music that we could hear from our hotel room. So that was something else cool. It was really interesting hearing a lot of the musicians making songs into a reggae type style. Like they played some country music and they made it kind of like a reggae islandy style. So really different thing to hear, but it was kind of cool. For lunch, we started off with some jalapeno poppers. These were some of the best jalapeno poppers I've ever had. And then I ended up having a nice fat chicken burrito. I almost said cheese burrito. And the wife ended up having some fish tacos, which she said was really great. They looked good. I didn't have any just because how big my burrito was. The Palapa Bar and Grill was really cool because they had patches all over the walls from like different fire departments, police departments. They had tons of like the United States college football team memorabilia. They had some sports stuff. It looked almost like a regular American sports bar that you would see back in the States, but obviously it had its own little island vibe to it. So if you're kind of missing home, I suggest stopping by here. Even if not, I suggest going here and just getting a couple drinks and going out by the water at nighttime. It was super cool watching all the different sea life just swimming around. We saw a couple stingrays, some humongous fish, and I believe this place, if I'm not mistaken, if you bring them a fish that you caught, they will cook it for you. They'll clean it and prep it and cook it for you. So That's something else. Don't quote me on that. I could be mistaken this restaurant for another restaurant. After lunch, we went for a walk to see what else was around our hotel and what other places we could eat, some things we could buy for souvenirs, and we came across this wall, which I just couldn't resist. I had to share it with you guys. While walking, we were kind of comparing the difference between Keycocker and here. Here it was so loud and there was just so much more like golf carts, just so much more stuff going on, and compared to Keycocker, which was so quiet and just chilled and laid back. So after our walk, we went ahead and went back to the hotel. We kind of hung out, played cards, and we just really got ready for the big day tomorrow, which was our snorkel trip. There was so many different companies to go snorkeling with. We settled on Inland and Sea Adventures. I'm gonna go ahead and leave their website in the description below. For our trip, we decided to go with the package deal to take you to Hol Chan, which was kind of like a national park, but underwater. We had to stop in with a park ranger and get wristbands before entering the water. We also went to Shark Ray Alley, which was super cool because you get to go in the water while they feed the sharks. They're just like nurse sharks and stuff. Then we stopped at Coral Gardens, which was just a big old coral reef they have there. And then it's supposed to take you to Keycocker, where you have lunch and you're able to go see some seahorses. But because we just came back from Keycocker, we kind of was able to work something out with them for them just to take us back before taking the other people to Keycocker. We ended up just getting on a separate boat, so we didn't interfere with the other people's experience. But we didn't want to go back to Keycocker for like an hour or two just because we've already been there. So I don't want to bore you with a huge long video of just us bobbing around the water, seeing the same fish over and over again. So I'm just going to do some quick clips of each of the stops that we went to and some of the coolest wildlife we seen while we were there. So I wanted to go ahead and apologize ahead of time. Some of this footage is shaky, but it's not as bad as my Hawaiian video. I have a new GoPro, has a little bit of a better stabilizer, but I was trying to swim, fight the current, and hold my GoPro in one hand. Also, the selfie stick I had doesn't float, so I was hanging onto that for dear life. These first few clips was our first stop at Hol Chan. It was kind of like a protected national park. We actually had to stop at a ranger station that was floating in the middle of the ocean to get wristbands before we were actually allowed inside the water. Moving on was one of my favorite stops. It was a Shark and Ray Alley. This is where they actually let us get into the water before they fed a bunch of hungry nurse sharks. Lucky for us, we arrived early in the day, so there wasn't a whole lot of tour groups that have already been through here to feed the sharks. And believe me, Belize is a place you do not want to get hurt and have to go to the hospital. So I probably shouldn't have gotten this close to the sharks, but I was totally mesmerized and I would 100% do it again. As cool as the sharks were, our last stop at the Coral Gardens did not disappoint. Our tour guide let us know that it's not a guarantee every time to see a manatee, so we were pretty lucky to catch this one. And I'm so glad we got to, because when we booked the tour, I was pretty excited at the chance to see a manatee. So if you go on a snorkel tour, I hope you get as lucky as I am to experience something this cool. Well, as you can imagine, after such a successful snorkeling trip, we were exhausted and hungry. So once we got back to San Pedro, we decided to hit the streets and check out a place the wife has been wanting to try. Little did I know, this trip to this restaurant that she's been wanting to try ended up turning our vacation totally upside down and just threw a total curveball into everything. And here's a quick sneak peek of the food. Although it was very delicious, I think everybody knows what I'm gonna say. I ended up getting sick. I'm not 100% sure if it was from the food or let alone this restaurant, I don't know. The food was great. I'm not gonna throw names on there of the restaurants because I don't want people to shy away from it just because I got sick. It could have been anything I ate. But walking back to our hotel after that lunch, that's when I started noticing a little bit of body aches. But I kind of shrugged it off to just being, I was sore from snorkeling all that time. And then once we got back to the hotel, I ended up crashing so hard with a nap. And when I woke up, I had a fever, I had more body aches, and then it kind of snowballed into diarrhea. I'm sorry, too much information, I know, but it was horrible. It ended up throwing a huge wrench in our plan because the next day we were gonna rent a golf cart and head over to the secret beach and kind of spend the day just kind of swimming and hanging out on the beach over there. But I was just absolutely down and out for the count. And we only had another day and a half until we got to go home. So I just laid there in the hotel room just trying to stay hydrated and kept telling myself, oh, I just gotta make it to get home. I just gotta make it till we can get home. And the trouble didn't stop there. When it was finally time to go home, the weather was so bad that our little bush plane wasn't able to fly into Belize International Airport and only Belize Airport. So there was all kinds of delays. We finally got on a plane to Belize Airport and had to take a taxi cab and like scrambled through Belize City in this taxi cab. This guy was like flying to get us to get our flight. By the time we got there and checked in, and as we were getting to our gate, they were already boarding our plane. So here's me, just total cold sweats, body aches, just always in and out of the bathroom, and we almost missed our flight and we were gonna be stuck in Belize. We both didn't know what to do, if that was gonna happen. We're so glad it did not. And although towards the end of our trip things were just spiraling out of control, I wouldn't change a single thing. Me getting sick and us almost getting stuck in a different country is all part of the experience of travel. It's stuff we can look back and laugh and tell these stories to our friends and family. And I hope these videos persuade you to go to Belize and experience some of these things. We do plan on returning to Key Hawker one day over San Pedro, just because we wanted that really quiet, slow island type of vacation, and San Pedro just did not deliver that for us. Although it didn't do it for us, I'm sure there's other people out there that took interest to San Pedro, and I really hope you enjoyed the videos and you go book your trip.